few days ago, I got to take a trip out into the Atlantic Ocean. On the way out, it was a refreshing and very smooth experience. The boat we were on moved very smoothly out into the ocean and got to watch dolphins swim and different groups of dolphins on one side or the other of the boat. And at one point, the boat turned around after about an hour traveling out to come back. As we turned around, I noticed that there was a different way that the boat was moving. At this point, the boat seemed to struggle to get back inland. At one point, I stepped out on the side of the boat and I heard the wind whipping very hard and noticed the waves were very deep, almost like we were moving against a current. I guess that's what it was. And it occurred to me, maybe not exactly, but this might have been what the disciples felt like in that moment in Mark chapter number 4. I'll read that for you in just a second. Where they are paralyzed with fear that they're going to drown. And this is how Mark chapter number 4 reads. Chapter number 4 of Mark, verses 35 through 41. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along. Just as he was in the boat, there was also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." The disciples really hadn't listened to what Jesus said. You know, we can change our mind and we can have experiences and say, well, maybe that's not what I meant when I said that. But Jesus didn't speak that way. Jesus' words were executed with excellence, and he meant everything that he said. Look at what he says in verse 35. He said, "Let us go over to the other side." He didn't describe the journey, didn't describe for them how they might feel, didn't describe what they would experience, but he said, "Let us go over." Numbers chapter 23, verse 19 reminds us that God is not human, that he should lie, not a human being, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? I think the disciples could not listen to Jesus' words because they were involved in the moment. They were enthralled in the happenings. And sometimes that happens to us. We get so caught up in the happenings that we forget to listen to what Jesus said. So the first thing that I want you to take with you this week, that Jesus cannot change his mind and did not lie. There's a song that was written by Frank Graff. He was a Methodist minister, and he was going through some difficult times, and it was recorded that he had what's called a sunny disposition. He was generally a pretty happy man. But these experiences left him somewhat hurt. And while he was in the middle of some of these experiences, he penned the song, "Does Jesus Care?" The disciples said to him, "Don't you care?" The answer is simply yes, Jesus cares. 1 Peter 5:7 reminds us that we have to cast our cares, our anxiety on him because he cares for us. And so the second thing I want you to take with you, that yes, Jesus cares. Even that song that Graf wrote, does Jesus care when my heart is pained too deeply for myrrh and song, as the burdens press and the cares distress, all the way grows weary and long. Oh yes, he cares. I know he cares. His heart is touched with my grief. When the days are weary, the nights are long and dreary, I know my Savior cares. So the simple answer is yes, he cares. Take that with you. And last thing I want to share with you, as his disciples were fretting and panicking, and Jesus retorts to his disciples, he kind of comes off a bit snarky. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? When I was on that ship earlier that I mentioned, I trusted the captain of the ship to navigate us safely back to still waters. I trusted the captain of the ship to navigate us to a place where we would not be in danger. And I had the audacity to put my trust and confidence in a human being. Jesus said, do you still have no faith? You walked among me, you alongside me. You've seen what I've been able to do. You've seen the sick healed, the dead raised. Do you still not have faith? And the writer of Hebrews says it like this: wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and every sin that besets us, and let us run with patience that race that's set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. Do you still not have faith? Do you not trust that Jesus will get you to the other side? You must have that complete confidence in Jesus, knowing that what Jesus starts, Jesus will finish. There's a song that says, there's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Put your confidence and trust in Jesus. So whatever you face this week, know these three things are true. His word cannot change. He cannot lie. And yes, he cares. He cares about every pain, every bit of grief that you endure. You just have to have enough faith that you are in the ship with Jesus. He's already commanded, we're going to the other side. Stay in the ship. Don't fret. And as St. Augustine said, pray as though everything depended on God. Work as though everything depended on you. Go forward with fire and hope.